Well, hello and good evening. Welcome back to the IIRL Twitch channel. Hope you're all really well. Brand new week, brand new race, 3 brand new streams for you. Welcome to round 16 of the championship. We have a clear leader, IIRL S3, leading the championship with 251 points, winning last week in Zandvoort. Leads NVR Tamino by 78 points. So, I've done the math. If Ross finishes on the podium for the next 7 races, he will be No Assist Tier champion for Season 3 of IIRL. 7 races left in this calendar. We have Monza, then we have Singapore, Japan, USA, Mexico, Brazil, and Abu Dhabi. So really, in terms of the championship, all we're looking for is Tamino beating Ross. NVR Tamino needs to outscore Ross in the next races without fail. DNF for Ross wouldn't be the end of the world. He would still be leading the championship at the end of tonight. But his grip on the lead will be significantly, potentially reduced if Tamino heavily scores here tonight. As for the constructors, it's a bit more of an open and closed case. AlphaTauri lead the championship with 380 points. They've scored 15 points or more in every single race this season apart from one, which was Belgium 2 weeks ago, and as a result they lead Alfa Romeo and Williams, who are tied, and they're leading them both by 178 points. So as things stand, it does look pretty strong for the AlphaTauri team. Full grid here tonight, 20 drivers, nice to see. 3 qualifying sessions in case you're new around here. Qualifying 1 will take 18 minutes, 15 minutes for Q2, and 12 minutes for Q3. Bottom 5 will be leaving us in Q1, leaving 15 for Q2, 5 more will drop out, leaving a top 10 shootout for pole position in Q3. And it looks like John is the first one out on track. So let's go for a bit of a track tour. Very famous track, this one. DRS is enabled just after this start-finish line, where you reach speeds of up to 220 miles per hour, depending on your setup. Heavy braking zone all the way down to first or second gear. John using third through the opening chicane, navigates it pretty well. Back on the power, all the way back up to 8th gear as you hit turn 3, Curve de Grands. And another heavy braking zone down to 3rd gear, or 4th in John's case, tackling turns 4 and 5. Watch out for the inside curves on both of those corners. And as you approach the 2 Lesmo corners, 90-degree right-handers, it really is a beautiful part of this track, and if you nail it, you feel like a driving god. Another slab of DRS up the hill into the braking zone for the Ascari chicane, the left, right, left, very easy to cut these corners, to run wide at the exit, to get on the sausage curbs and disrupt your car. No DRS on this straight towards the final corner. Turn 11. It's tighter on the way in, but it does ease on the way out, so you can position your car very nicely and you cross the line before you get the DRS. And so far, John has set the benchmark of 1:20.0. Evening Rids, evening Wiggles, evening Goldilocks. Hope you're all really, really well. I will have TD on comms when he gets home. So towards the latter end of qualifying. And for the race, TD will be with us. Nice to see Ranier reserving tonight. Popped in there with a bit of a banker, 1 minute 23.7. Not expecting that time to get him through into Q2, but I'm sure he can go quicker than that. But yeah, nice to see Ranier reserving tonight. Haven't seen him on Tuesday nights for a while. Yep, Ranier, first time reserving since Spain. Would be only his 4th race this season on Tuesday night. So nice to have you back, Ranier. Hope you have a really good one today. As Colucci goes 3rd fastest. I believe OMSD Bomb making his debut tonight. Possibly has raced before in IRL, but definitely the first time he's raced this season, so welcome D-Bomb. Hope tonight goes well for you. Padge with the banker lap, 128.4. Obviously that won't get him through to the next part of quali, but I'm sure he can go quicker than that, and he does with a 21.6. Nice lap there. Only a few tenths behind MVR Tamino, who's currently 3rd, and D-Bomb slots in between the pair of them. Joseph Hales goes 2nd fastest on a 1 minute 20.4, and that guy currently in 3rd on a 20.7. You can see a lot of people in the first sector or so. About maybe 9 or 10 cars in that first and second sector. We have a Ferrari sideways. I believe that is Prev, who is somewhere near the wall. Yep, and I have to see if Prev's got any damage, but he's just needs to be careful he doesn't get disqualified here. Just making sure these cars get through without blocking them, and Prev lives to fight another day. Mr. Wiggles goes 2nd fastest on a 20.2. Nice lap there, and Hungry Throne slots into 3rd place ahead of Joseph on a 20.4. Evening Snacks, hope you're well, mate. Wheel God, yes. I have a wheel now. That's exciting news, I guess, since this time last week. Which means you won't be seeing me race for a while. Certainly, possibly another month while I get back up to speed, and you may even see me appearing on Sunday nights in AT2. I don't feel very quick on the game anyway. And I've just noticed a couple of people are out on the medium compound tyres, so let's put the tyre graphic up. Thank you very much, Joseph. That was very well timed. So there we go. People using different tyre compounds in this session. Obviously, it doesn't really matter if you're the fastest in this session. It just matters if you're not in the bottom 5. So Tamino trying to get through to Q2 on a set of hard compound tyres, and considering he's only 1.1 off the lead on a set of hards, that is a pretty good lap there from Tamino. Later we popping into 5th place in the last few moments as well. Hungry Throne on mediums, only 3 or so tenths away from the top spot in the early stages. Nice lap there, Mr. Colucci on the mediums too. That's a pretty good lap time from Colucci on the mediums to be ahead of D-Bomb, Padge, who were using soft tyres. So nice lap there, and 1010 also using mediums, you can see. Approaching the end of his lap. Still 9 minutes left of session, so plenty of time for drivers to come back in and out again. 1010 on the mediums, goes 7th fastest ahead of Flew. Nice pace there from 1010. But still over half a second away from Hungry Throne's benchmark on those mediums. Talking to mediums, another driver using them is Fairley. And Fairley beats Hungry Throne's medium time, and that will safely see Fairley, I think Hungry Throne as well, that will see them both through. So then Smaller Smiley, can he manage? Just going a bit too deep into turn 1 there. Might decide to back out of the lap. My weather said sunny all sessions at the start, and now it's saying rain. It's changed. Can the weather do that? There is weather glitches. When you look at the little icons of what the weather's doing, sometimes that can be wrong. So I guess it could be a glitch, or maybe there's an MFD glitch. Maybe Mark's telling you that there's rain when there's not. I don't know too much, but we'll wait and see if there's going to be rain. Nice Ascari there from Smaller, very, very calm, very composed, very smooth. Rev on the mediums, pops in just behind Tamino on a 21.2 ahead of Colucci. There might be rain end of Q3, says Mr. Wiggles, so we'll have to watch out for that. Let's not tell TD, so when he joins, he'll be surprised. He'll hate me for that. Ross on the mediums pops into 8th place, just behind his teammate. That's a good lap there from Ross on the slower compound tyre. Pete has gone ahead of his teammate on a set of soft compound tyres on a 20.9, and as you saw a few moments ago, Smaller drops into what is now 13th place. Probably not there. Okay, well, we'll bear it in mind. John fastest at the moment on a 120.0, the first lap time posted in this session, and still top of the charts. Decides to retire early from the session, comfortable that he will not be knocked out in Q1, that's why people retire early. Ranier has improved from his 1 minute 23, but still a second or so away from Greg, who is still in the drop zone himself, so Mr. Colucci's time of 1 minute 21.4 is the one to beat right now. That's what people will be aiming for in that bottom 5. Deton is still in the bottom 5, 121.6, just behind Padge, who is back out on track as we speak. Plenty of people in the pits, which means plenty of track position for a lot of these drivers. Don't have to worry too much about where they are out on track. Padge just losing focus there, perhaps. Going off the track. Quite fortunate not to spin or crash, perhaps. Yeah, let us know in chat. What do you think of this track? What is your opinions? Do you enjoy it? Do you enjoy watching or racing or both? Which do you prefer? Let us know. If you're watching any new around here, that's a bit more information about IIRL. And if you want to check out the standings, that is the link to follow. And for more information about this very famous, long-standing track in Formula 1 history, check that one out there. TD has joined. Oh, earlier than I was expecting. For only 11 corners, it's really hard. Chicanes are tough to nail. They really are, and the curbs are awful. I was practicing a little bit earlier, not in the intention of racing, but I was driving it earlier, and it was very interesting for a brand new wheel user to attack those curves. It's very tricky. Surprisingly, Ascari isn't actually that bad to tackle on curbs. It's the first 2 chicanes, especially this one. You cut that turn 5, the right-hander of that chicane there, and the car hates it, so you have to be really careful. Padge using a bit of the grass to try and extend the track width, try and maximise the time through the corners, and he is 1/10 up in sector 2, but that's a mistake at Ascari, and that will ruin all of his hard work. So this lap probably gone for Padge. Check in with Colucci and see how he's doing. Doing his kilometre track length, which is one of the longest on the calendar. TD, the party's open. This geezer wants a party invite when it's open. I'm never appear offline.
You literally appearing offline.
I'm not. I will check my profile.
You are.
Why am I appearing off? I said appear on. I says that. It says I'm appearing online.
Well, for me it says you're appearing offline, so.
It says last seen 10 minutes ago, but I have appearing online.
Yeah, exactly.
That makes no sense.
Exactly.
It's an Xbox glitch.
Anyway, how
so
are you?
Tamino, I'm good, thanks. We were expecting you in Q3, perhaps. But,
I started work earlier and finished work earlier, so it's all good.
oh, it's a clever boy.
I am tired, however, it is quite fitting to this track that the pizza is in the oven and it will be ready soon.
Tonight on Food Watch with TD. Colucci runs wide at Ascari and messes up his lap, so still the one to beat on a 21.4. Obviously you can go quicker than that on those soft tyres, but you obviously need to get the lap on the board. Greg and Renier in the pit still, and AMSD Bomb not too sure on how quick he is, but currently finds himself in the drop zone. Greg has retired from session, which means he'll be starting 19th or 20th, depends if Renier can get a better lap time. He has improved to a 22.4, but still perhaps struggling with the pace tonight.
Oh dear.
Maybe a bit out of practice.
I just had to do what's deflated. And I know he misses the... Oh dear. I might have to get it in at some point. Someone goes for a stint. Oh dear.
Good evening, we and Novitek. Hope you're all really well. Still wondering how you didn't have damage at that wall crash on Zandvoort. Sometimes you get lucky and don't get any damage, so yeah. It looks like at the moment the AT2 race will be happening on Sunday. More about that later on.
Has 10-10 crashed yet?
No, he hasn't.
Oh.
He has set 1 lap time on the mediums and is 13th. Padge gets out of the drop zone as the checkered flag falls, and with Colucci back in the pits, he won't be able to improve, and Renier too has finished the session in 20th, and Deton has crashed at Ascari. Was on a lap. Not anymore. D-Bomb then is the only one who can make the great escape into Q2, and he's only fractionally down on his personal best, so...
Small as improving through Sector 2 as well by 4/10, so it's going to be between Pajestic and D-Bomb if Smiler doesn't invalidate.
D-Bomb just off his personal best. through Sector 2, runs a little bit wide at Ascari, but doesn't get invalidated. As Smaller improves to 13th place and displaces 1010, who then goes into 8th place and safe into Q2. D-Bomb needs to beat Padge's time, needs to be 3/10 up.
Oh.
And he's almost 3/10 up and just misses out on a spot in Q2 by, gosh, just 1/10 of a second there. So that was close as both Ferraris are racing into the pits together. But Padge is through.
I tell you what, you'd think that this track would be closer in time than what Netherlands is. It's loads of straights compared to loads of corners, but this somehow has a bigger time difference.
Well, this track's a very long track. I know it doesn't take long to get round, but it's almost 6 kilometres, so that's where the time differences come from. Obviously, car setup is massive here. People running next to no wings at all.
I bet there'll be a few that actually don't have anything.
A few of the OP esports guys, I'm sure, will be running 0-0 wings.
Fairly.
Tamino, big boy sweat at this track. He's like top 50 or something. Wow. Well, so far, he is half a second clear of the field. Didn't need to set that time on the softs. Could have got through on the hards and saved that set, but still flexing his muscles early in the session. A few people using the medium compound tyres. Colucci, one of them, just couldn't get that quicker time on the softs. Otherwise, probably would have made it through. But in the end, it is Padge who makes that escape. D-Bomb, Colucci, Deton, Greg, and Ranier heading out in Q1.
I can imagine that Ross, Fairley and Hungry Fern will all be a lot closer to Tamino when they're strapping a set of soft tyres. This is good because we want a close fight for pole.
Let's hope so. Press for John, that was only 1 lap, so potentially could improve on that too.
Yeah, sure.
Could be in with an outside shot also. Feature driver tonight, I think, is going to be Ranier, seeing as he is reserving, and we don't see him every week. I'm going to get his feature driver in this week while I can. So we'll concentrate on Ranier during the race, out of qualifying early, but still points are earned in the race, so best of luck Ranier for the race tonight. And there's a Red Bull and a Ferrari coming out of the pits. John, first out in Q1 and first out in Q2, so happy to take that role. So TD, from your expert opinion as a very skilled and experienced driver on this game, what are your thoughts of this Monza? He's not here, and I've been kicked out. Well, thank you for answering my question, TD. I'll get back in. Thankfully, I'm not host, so there shouldn't be any glitches. To be honest, I've had enough of crashing out of sessions. It's not my internet, it's the game. The game just doesn't like me. Stream is still up though, so yeah, it's good news. Anyway, back in, we haven't missed too much. So bottom 5 will be dropping out of this session. 15 minutes in total to get those lap times on the board. 12 minutes left. And Deflator Wee is out on a flying lap. As is Flu, as is Pete. 10-10 coming across the final corner now to start a lap. John 2 out on track. So John started off with a 1 minute 20.0 in Q1, posts a 1 minute 20.2 this time around. Prev on a 1 minute 20.4, and Fairly slots in between the pair of them on a 20.3. That guy, that's a bit of a slower lap from what we expected from him, but he'll go again and he'll do better than that, I'm sure, as Deflator Wee goes fastest on a 19.8. I can only assume that TD is either dead or getting his pizza. Flew 5th fastest on a 20.7. So we have Wiggles, Pete, 10-10, Joseph, Tamino and Ross out on track on flying laps. We've got Smaller Smiley Hungry thrown on out laps, not on a lap yet, and Pajestic still in the pits as Pete goes 6th fastest on a 21.4, and I hear TD again.
You was right, I was getting my pizza.
Well, I asked you a question and then you just didn't answer.
I'll get my pizza. What was the question?
I was asking you your opinion of this track.
I used to love it a lot. However, it's gone down a bit in my books. It's not as... feels a bit more trickier, especially like the second chicane and the Scar chicane. But I think it's still a good track. It's rather satisfying if you can hook a lap up fully, but it's just hard to get it completely right on this game.
Well, Mr. Wiggles looked like he might have been blocked there from Prev, who was out on track, but instead got a bit of a slipstream down towards the final corner. Went 3rd fastest ahead of John. Nice lap. Tamino went fastest on the medium compound tyres, so potentially could be in for a bit of a one-way street tonight, with Tamino looking very strong. Roscoe's 2nd fastest. Why don't you ask him in Discord after? So Roscoe's 2nd fastest, and this is really good news for Ross, because as long as he finishes on the podium in the next 7 races, he will be due to win the championship. As Smaller goes 10th fastest, but has a bit of a snap of oversteer through the first couple of corners. But that is looking very strong from Tamino. 19.8 on medium tyres. Possibly could be setting a 1 minute 18 tonight in quali. Oh, I never know with TD anymore.
You can't even... I don't even know what I said myself, so...
I've given up with him, honestly.
Everyone gives up with me. I'm too Yorkshire.
That's not the reason.
Wow. Get in the bin.
So Padge, the only one left without a time on the board. We know he can go quicker than that, we know that guy can go quicker than that, but ultimately, so far, everyone else showing pretty good pace here. It's going to be mighty close to see who's going to make it through into Q3. It could honestly be half a tenth or so that separates.
First spin into turn 1.
It separates 10th and 11th. It's Padge. Nice lap there, goes 12th. Those are some fast times indeed. Fairly has spun in turn 1, so
Sometimes
he'll have to wait. Yep, John 10th and a half up. Bit of a twitch through Ascari. Might have had a bit of a snap of oversteer, or maybe just a bit of lag on our screen.
Maybe just a bit of a Mr. Wiggle.
I think it was a twitch, because he's taken off ERS. So I think he's back into the pits, and yes, he is back into the pits. So no improvement there for John, but currently sitting pretty in 6th.
See Fairley going for another lap here. So it was only his first lap on these tyres. So.
Stonewall with Fairley then. No one else is on a lap. We've got Flu, Wiggles, 10-10, that guy back out on track, but not on a flying lap yet. 5 minutes left. Still plenty of time for drivers to come out of the pits. I remember a few games ago you were setting 1 minute 17s on this track as someone's going for a bit of a spin, possibly Hungry Throne or Joseph Hales in the first corner.
Hungry Throne.
Fairley has lost half a second in his opening sector.
I thought it were interesting because going through on the exit of sector 2 we were in 5th gear and it just looks really slow and he bogged down.
And he has taken off the ERS, so not quite working for Fairley at the moment. Hopefully he can get that good lap that he's hoping for. Might be a little bit vulnerable with that 20.3. So I'd say probably worth getting a better lap time than that if you can. Tamino has retired in first, which means out of his 3 runs so far in quali, he's only used 1 set of soft tyres.
Tim, do you want to remind everyone who's got the lap record for this track?
Is it you?
Yeah.
By any chance? Is me to say? 10-10. It's over 7 tenths up in sector 2. Nice lap. Seems to be hooking this up pretty nicely. Might get a bit of a slipstream down the back straight. Obviously no DRS. And ideally he'd like those cars to either move or hurry up so they don't impede him. Flips the apex nicely.
Seem to be alright.
And this is a good lap from 10-10. It's a 1 second improvement as he jumps up to 4th place, and that should comfortably see 10-10 through here, but may not finish in 4th, but certainly he'll be hard to beat on that time.
A 1 second improvement for the 101010 011001 man.
Thank you for that. That guy 2 and a bit tenths up.
Ooh.
In sector 1, but just too much curb there through the middle sector, and he'll back off and try again.
Joseph Hales 8 tenths up.
Yep, across the line he comes. Currently 12th, jumps up to 8th place. Just an extra 10th and he'll be up to 6th place, so that's how close it is right now.
Fairly is in ninth. We don't normally say fairly in ninth a lot.
He's back out on track. Mr. Wiggles struggling in turns 4 and 5 again. He has time to back off and go again, but he has a Red Bull behind him of John, who is on a lap, so... Ooh, and a bit of a slide there, so... John might have been a little bit distracted, and he runs wide at the second Lesmo corner. This one won't count.
I tell you what, them Lesmo corners are very hard to keep invalid and in the track, because you want to try and gain as much time as possible, but if you run too much time and too much power, you're just going to invalidate, and it's really hard.
Indeed, I'd say that probably the hardest corners on this track are turns 4 and 5. It's so difficult with the curb, and you've got to move the car left and then right so quickly, nail the exit, keep the car nice and straight, don't get a snap of oversteer. Very tricky 2 corners. And we may see some rain in Q3, Tom.
Oh, lovely.
Is what I'm hearing in Discord, seeing in Discord. Oh, that guy spins at Ascari, doesn't bin it, so Will able to go for another lap. He's already used half his overtake, so might not be in a prime position here, that guy, to get into Q3, but certainly another opportunity for him. That's a nice timing glitch there. Padge went through sector 1 and didn't tell us how fast or slow he was. Time to beat is Prev's 1 minute 20.4, so that means everyone in that bottom 5 needs to improve at least 3 tenths. As Prev now... Oh, and Joseph's crashed out.
Oh dear.
His time has dropped to 10th, and he's crashed at the end of the second Lesmo before that DRS straight. So Joseph Hale now, people will need to beat Joseph Hale's time, I believe.
They still need to get above a 20.2 to go above Joseph, but they can go above Trev still.
Very true. Here comes Padge and stays 12th place. Just behind Flew here, who spins out of the final corner. And Flew is out of qualifying. Smaller Smiley passes teammate, who is round at the final corner. He is improving on his time, but can't get into Q3. Goes ahead of his teammate into 11th. What about Pete? He's coming through Scary chicane with an 8/10 improvement, which as it stands is good enough. That guy improves on his final run, but maybe didn't have the ERS he was hoping for, as he can't get into Q3. Stays 12th fastest. And here comes Pete. Will he make it through? Yes, he will, and pushes Prev out of qualifying.
He's not on a lap
by less than a 10th.
Disaster for the Ferrari boys.
So in case you're not too sure what's happening with our timing screen, Joseph Hales, because he has a faster time than Pete, doesn't drop into the bottom 5, but he won't be able to drive in Q3, so there'll be 6 drivers, the bottom 6 leaving us in this session. And because Pete was the quickest of that bottom 7, he makes it through. And that sky on track is looking very grey.
I hope it rains right at the start, so when we're driving, it's wet at the same time, so it can be a mix-up good.
Evening, take her easy. Hope you're well. As you can see there, Tamino fastest somehow on those medium compound tyres. Very close there at the top between Hungry Throne, Ross, Deflated Wee, 10-10 within 2 tenths as well. Mr. Wiggles, Fairley, John and Pete. Obviously with Joseph Hales he would have been through, but that crash near the ends means that he won't be able to drive in Q3 and will start the race in 10th. Prev Smaller Smiley, That Guy, Flew and Pajestic dropping out in Q2. And a top 9 for Q3. So TD, any predictions for pole position?
Camino.
Wow, I saw that one coming.
I feel like I saw a bit of rain then when the race thingy went off.
Well, we'll find out in a few short moments.
I might just be hallucinating, but I might have saw a bit of rain.
Q3 gets underway.
I was hallucinating.
It's not actually raining, but we don't know when the rain is coming.
Next 2 minutes. Calling right now.
Yeah, what happened, Joseph? We saw you crashed at the end of the second Lesmo. Did you just get on the curbs too much? What happened, mate? Starting in 10th isn't so bad. Obviously still in the points, and depending on how fast you feel, you might be able to make up some places.
I tell you
race.
what, Joseph did that on purpose because he said, "Guess who's going to be in a DRS train with a full battery on the last lap?" So Joseph's done that on purpose, so he's in a DRS train.
Well, maybe Joseph can confirm TD's ridiculous theory. I think I just saw the rain animation flash. So the rain is falling. Obviously, everyone's out on track as we speak. There's a massive congestion of cars.
I guess it's going to have the best track conditions.
MVR Tamino. Whoops, John not quickest out of the blocks.
Doc.
Skill issue. No, mate, you're very skillful. Unfortunate on that exit curb. Another day you may not have retired. Sorry?
And I know what I'm very skillful at.
Eating.
Eating pizza because it's going down me very fast.
What pizza? Actually, we will let the chat guess what kind of pizza Tom is eating.
I'll give you a clue, it's the same as last week.
I don't think we revealed last week. Did we?
We did, yeah, I remember it.
Okay. Well, if you have a good memory and you were here last week. So the rain's starting to fall now, you can see it clearly on your screen. Track conditions might be getting slightly worse towards the end of their first flying lap, but obviously the last thing you want to do now is invalidate your time. I think there's a yellow flag in the first corner. I think Mr. Wiggles may have had a bit of an issue. I'll check in with him. Maybe TD can check in.
Wiggles is 1.2 down on Tamino.
There we go, Tamino has plenty of track space, best track conditions. Will this be a 1 minute 18 or will this be a low 1 minute 19?
If he gets a 1 minute 18 in the wet, I'm going to go to my local reservoir and jump into it.
Can you video it?
Yeah.
I want to see that. Here he is. It's not an 18, it's a 19.7. I would say that's very much beatable, but maybe in these wet conditions, maybe it's not. As Mr. Wiggles goes for a spin at Ascari, lap was ruined anyway. Hungry Throne on a 20.0, Ross in third on a 20.5, Deflated Wee goes on a 20.1 up into third, Fairley and 1010 only on a 20.9.
John invalidated this time, so that's why he's back in the pits.
He'll be going for a brand new set of soft tyres, trying to make the most of these dry-ish conditions. So here comes Pete now, last one to set a time. And it's a 21.1, so good enough for 7th. Mr. Wiggles has stayed out to start a new time, so we'll go on board with him. Well, not in that club, Novitek. Don't talk bad about yourself like that, mate. You are very quick.
His helmet is very funky.
It is very nice, isn't it? It doesn't match his car at all. And the rain really isn't falling that much at the moment. We've only seen a few splashes in the past few corners, so there is still scope here for people to improve. Fairley does improve on to a 20.6, pops up to 5th place, just behind Ross.
Because we're drifting through a Scara, then that'll be, I mean, yeah, Scara, that was very close.
So Wiggles' second attempt and goes 6th fastest on the 1 minute 20.8 ahead of 1010. 1010's had a bit of a poor sector 1, 8 seconds down. Ross quite satisfyingly 1 millisecond quicker than his personal best in the first sector. I'll tell you what, the rain is starting to fall a bit closer now, so maybe this track is beyond the point of no return in terms of improvements. I think 1010 is, I think they're in the same party, so I think 1010's offered that for Ross, but there's no improvement. He's 4 tenths down for Ross. So this track is, I think, just at the point of no improvement.
Return.
Yeah, we saw Tamino spin at the end of the Ascari chicane, so obviously no improvement, and Ross just ducks into the pits. These drivers know that it's over. With 5 minutes left, there is likely to be no improvements now between now and the end of session. Hungary thrown and deflated, we are back out on track, hoping that that is not the case. Good evening, TJ. Hope you're well, mate. And it's meant to be a clear race. Thank you, Joseph.
Aww.
Tamino, 1010 Wiggles, Pete retiring from the session. They haven't crashed out, they just know the track is not going to improve. John may as well get a time on the board to see how fast he can go, but that invalidation on the first run has maybe cost him 4 or 5 places here in qualifying, as he was very quick in Q1 and Q2. But unfortunately, one mistake means that he will likely be starting in 9th place for the race. And it's sometimes a very cruel game in that respect.
PJ, do you want to just have a guess? We're in Italy. Have a guess.
Oh, and Deflatewee's outbroke himself into the first corner, misses the chicanes. So and depending on Hungary Throne's first sector split here, might just be worth going into the pits and retiring from the session. He's almost 4 tenths down.
Yeah,
so there is no traction. There is no traction out on track for these cars, and there you have it, DRS disabled.
That's when you know it's a crossover point.
Not saying you're that fast, Novitek. I'm saying you're not slow, bro. Yeah, let's get your guesses. What kind of pizza do you think TD's eating? He'll reveal at the end of Q3. If you're
like
correct,
I said, if you've got
TD
good
will
memory.
give you a slice of pizza.
No, I bloody won't. If you remember last week, I'm having the same pizza. But if you've got good memory, just think back to last week.
Joseph, if you think that's bad, Ross does no practice and he wins races, like, you know. Some people are able to do that. It's very frustrating. But
he's not absolutely no chance.
Some people are just built that way. But there we go. A very abrupt end to Q3. Envy Tamino, pole position by just over 0.3 of a second. Hungary thrown on the front row in the Williams. With Litwi in the Alpine, Ross in the AlphaTauri. Ross needs to finish on the podium, really, here tonight, especially if Tamino's threatening to win the race. Fairly Wiggles on row 3. 10-10 and Pete make it an all McLaren row 4, and John will be in 9th. Joseph Hales crashing out of Q2 will start 10th. That's why he couldn't be able to set a lap in Q3. A 5-minute break, and it's back to sunny conditions, so don't expect to see any wet weather tyres in this race. A 5-minute break, of course, for the drivers. Fairley is lagging out, so we'll invite him back. Of course, no formation lap, so we'll be heading straight into the race. And I'll tell you a bit more about our featured driver, Ranier. Reserve in this tier. As we say, first race since Spain. So might be a little bit out of practice, but hopefully he can get a good result here tonight. He's 18 years of age from New York in the America. I just said the America. Can't believe I just said the America. He is a student at St. Bonaventure University. His
in the America.
Shut up, Tom. His dream job is a physical therapist. Any hobbies or interests? He likes running, swimming, hiking, and skiing. He's a Division 1 distance runner at school, so that's his main thing. The rest are just smaller hobbies. Racing on a wheel, Logitech G920. Favourite driver is Sergio Perez. Favourite track is Hungary. Shut up, we. As for his racing strengths, he thinks race pace, not crashing, clean driving and time management is good. All of those things you'll need for this race, so fingers crossed Ranier can get a nice little result here tonight. Anywhere in the points will do him. And he's just having fun, doesn't have any rivalries. And I need to get some driver stats up for Ranier. So Ranier, this is only his 11th race in IIRL. No podiums, wins or pole positions to his name so far. When he finishes in the points, he finishes maybe around 7th or 8th, so perhaps not the quickest we've seen, but certainly when he's in the points, he does score pretty well. Who's Paul Richard? Novatag.
Shut up. You know what I mean.
It's not Paul Ricard anymore, it's Paul Richard.
Well, it's not USA anymore, it's bloody the America.
I've not been to the America, but I do want to go. I want to go and see a proper NFL match, and I want to see the Grand Canyon. Have you been to the America, Tom?
No.
Would you like to go?
No.
This is the best conversation I've had all week.
Trump.
That was so random. Mane injured, might miss World Cup. Amazing. So what happens when you leave Liverpool.
Hope Hurricane gets injured. We can sack Gareth Southgate. Who's winning the World Cup? That's what we're going to talk about.
Get your predictions in chat. I don't know if Fairley's in this, so I'm just going to invite him anyway. Jacksonville Jags are a good side. Staying there for my holes. Nice. Sounds pretty good. My team aren't doing well. We're bottom of our division.
Do you know what do you want to know? Which other team is doing well?
Which one?
Bristol.
I'm not answering you. Because, one, how dare you insult my team, and two, how dare you call them Bristol. That is not their name. That's like calling Man City or Man United Manchester.
Just so you know, Lolly's going to take the piss out of you.
Don't care. So then, 5 lights are on. Ignore TD. And here come the drivers for the Italian Grand Prix round 16 of 22. 7 races left on the calendar. And who is going to win this one? Tamino gets a good start. The Flataway pulling it alongside. We've got a bit of movement in the background. We got 3 wide at one point. Fairly trying to overtake Ross and Hungry Throne. Ross gets past Hungry Throne. And 1010 is getting past Mr. Wiggles. And Hungry Throne fighting back against Ross out of turn 2. Another change of positions for them two. Tamino leads Hungry Throne, Ross, Fairley, 1010 and Wiggles. And 1010 is gone.
In the wall.
It says I'm spectating 1010, but I'm not. That's weird. But 1010 is off and all the way to the back. Joseph Hale's also down to 19th. And I think D-Bomb's had a bit of an issue through one of the Lesmo corners, and he's lost a couple of places too.
I think luckily for 1010 he doesn't seem to have any damage and he ain't far back, so he's still in next to him.
Hungry Throne making moves past Deflated Wee now. No DRS until lap 3. Now is the chance for Tamino to build a 1 second gap. He's on the hard compound tyres. There's your position change. Deton the most positions gained so far, along with that guy and Flu, who are both now into the points. As for the tyre strategies, this is where strategy takes centre stage. And Tamino Deflated Wee on the hard compound tyres. That's why Hungry Throne has made that move up into 2nd place. A lot of the back end of the field on the hard tyres as Joseph pits onto a set of mediums. He'll probably have to go back onto those hard tyres for a 2nd stint. Oh, and Fairley's had an issue. And Fairley is off the track at the exit of the 2nd chicane. He's being very sporting here, letting drivers through. Doesn't want to block the road at all. And what has happened to Deflated Wee? He's lost the ground now to Ross. And Deflated Wee is wide at Ascari.
Fairley did put in Discord that he was having real problems, so that might be why he went off the track.
Yeah, possibly, and Wee doesn't like those hard tyres, it seems. Hungry Throne, though, is flying. He's already caught Tamino. Obviously, he's got a tyre advantage, but still, he is on the charge right now. Fancies another win. Got his first win last week. Ross now on the back of this group. Obviously Hungry Throne will be hoping that he can get Tamino out of the DRS range. DRS is now enabled on lap 3, so Tamino has an opportunity here to try and stay with Hungry Throne as best he can. Mr. Wiggles has a bit of a job to do if he wants to get back in the DRS of Ross. And John after starting in P9 is already up to 6th place, so nice start there, hunting down Deflated Wheat, who has a slower set of tyres on the car at this stage in the race. Tamino with the DRS open. Stays in range of Hungry Throne here. Ross has got a nice helmet.
Ross and Wiggles are just going fancy,
Maybe they've had a chat and decided who can get the most outrageous helmet on the car this week. So you've got 2 trains for me. You can see on your track map, this opening train has the top 6. That guy just out of DRS range at this moment in time, but possibly might slip back in there. And we got Smaller Smiley defending from Prev, Pete, D-Bomb, D-Taunt, D-Bomb. That's quite a mouthful. And Padge, who's lost a bit of time in the first corner. I believe there might be an incident in turn 1.
10 turns. I don't know what happened there. 10 turns got a 5-second penalty. The corner cutting.
Few gaps starting to form now. Mr. Wiggles just dropping out of range. DRS range from Ross. Deflated Wheel on the hard tyres is having a hard time trying to stay within Wiggles' DRS range. And here comes John now, only a couple of tenths behind. Without DRS, I think Deflated Wheel kind of has no hope here of defending 6th place. Keeps the foot on the late brakes, but isn't enough. And as long as we can stay here with John, he still has a good chance of using a good strategy to get back ahead of him.
If he can keep
dropped off of this. Go on.
If he can keep with him in the corners, but I tell you what, Tim, as a commentator, because I was about to say, if I can keep with him and if he can keep with him in the corners, then it'll be good because he has good straight line speed. But he had a massive snap out of second chicane, and now that guy is right on the back of him.
Yellow flag in sector 2. I think fairly struggling with wheel stuff.
Yeah.
Doesn't normally make these kind of mistakes, but
it's very uncommon from Taylor.
Bit off the track goes that guy. Might have got a warning for it, might have got away with it. There is a bit of a unfair hack you can kind of get away with without a warning on some of these corners, but both of these run wide at the final corner. Tamino doing well to stay within DRS range of the race leader Hungry Throne. It's really important in this first stint that Tamino doesn't lose too much ground on Ross and Hungry Throne, because when they come in for pit stops, Hungry Throne and Ross will be on the hard compound tyres, Tamino's will be on the quicker medium compound tyres. Padge pits from 18th place as Flew gets past 10-10 down the main straight. And that guy cuts across turn 5, and also Smaller Smiley cutting across turn 5.
Oh, Ross passed Tamino's.
Oh, Tamino's made a mistake. He's got
no front wing. He's got no front wing.
Oh, he's hit the wall then. He's not fully spun, but Tamino's made a massive mistake, and those hard tyres maybe just aren't giving the grip in this race as they were hoping.
And Ross has made a mistake as well. Ross?
They're dropping like flies, and all of a second Hungry Throne now has a 4-second lead in this race. Odds on favourite perhaps to take the race win. Tamino obviously pits. Ross doesn't pit, so I reckon he's just had a bit of a snap and lost some time, but no damage. I don't think Ross was directly behind Tamino when he made that mistake, so I reckon it was an unforced error from Tamino. But if he was close to Ross, I might suggest that Ross maybe nudged him, but I'm not sure he was that close.
I think they were 3 or 4 attempts behind him, from what I remember.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So I don't think Ross has hit him, but we'll have to wait and see in Discord after the race.
Could be a possible argument.
Oh, we hope there's no argument.
Oh, Tamino spun again and lost his wing again.
Oh well.
Oh, I think
We've
it's
seen this before, like.
car.
Yeah, he has. That's a full course safety car now. Where is he? Has he done that on the first corner?
He's lost out of the second chicane. It's a possible cold tyres. And it's just gone into the left-hand side barrier.
So all the leaders then seem to be pitting. Smaller Smiley and Prev stay out. Pete stays out too. Deton will get 4th place. Everyone's just boxing onto the opposite strategy. For Hungry Throne and Deflated Wheat, this is a bit of a bad time for them, really. In fact, Hungry Throne's on his 2nd set of mediums. So Hungry Throne here. My race director doesn't want to work. Yeah, Hungry Throne hasn't used both compounds of tyres, so Hungry Throne must pit again.
Interesting tactic.
Maybe it was a mistake, maybe this is planned, maybe he's hoping for another safety car.
There is Wiggles in the net lead. With pit stops to come.
And I'm going to guess that's why Deton stayed out on track, because taking these mediums 20 laps might be possible, but obviously might leave you very vulnerable towards the end of the race.
It is possible, but they'll be very dead.
Yeah, I think it's possible. But you also might get into the range of puncture territory.
I think it all depends on how much you're fighting people as well, and how much force you actually put on the tyres.
True, and if there's another safety car in this race. As into the pits comes Hungry Throne.
Yes,
so that was an unforced error. He will put on a set of hard tyres for the rest of the race. He'll lose track position, but if he's got the pace that he's shown so far, he should be able to make some moves up the field.
So he won't be happy about
obviously, he'll get out ahead of Joseph Hales, who's still coming down towards the final corner. But he will come out in 17th place, so that is a bad mistake there from Hungry Throne. So the top 3 who started this race have all made unforced errors.
He won't be happy with that, but like you say, he's got very good pace. He managed to pull away from Wiggles. But it's just about getting through cars in front, really.
Ranier has also stayed out on track. Featured driver, he's in 12th place, yet to pit. Just means that the top 4 plus Ranier will need to make a mandatory pit stop at some point in this race. Just waiting for Padge, who is 20th at the moment, to catch up to the back of the field. I imagine the safety car will be out another lap. And possibly come in at the end of lap 10. This is good news for Joseph Hales, Fairley, 10-10, Tamino, Padge. We've all lost time before the safety car came out. Prev weaving, get heat in them tyres. Everyone has the track map on. It's Fairley pits again, so they'll know that this group is close together and the safety car will be coming at the end of this lap. Fairley, although he is pitting, he'll be able to catch up, and he drops onto the medium compound tyres where he might be able to spend the rest of the race here, so not too bad of a call there from Fairley, ditching those soft tyres. So half a lap under the safety car. Smaller Smiley has the job. Ooh, what's happened with Hungry Throne and 10-10? Hungry Throne has had collision with 10-10 and has a 5-second penalty under safety car.
I was too busy looking at my phone and I was literally on board with him, so I couldn't even tell you.
Well, thank you for your 100% attention, TD.
Wait, I've just clipped it. I'll tell you what happens in a sec.
Okay,
Right,
you redeemed yourself.
It just Hungry Phone couldn't slow down in time. Difference in speed. I went into the back of 10-10, but I don't think any of them had damage, luckily.
So maybe Hungry Throne won't be able to get that time penalty removed, but we'll just have to wait and see. I'm the steward, of course. Smaller Smiley then. Safety car is in this lap. He will have the distinct honour of choosing when to restart this race. Will he go before the final corner? Will he go after the final corner? Beautiful sight watching 20 cars weave down that back straight. He's thinking about it. He's gone for it now.
Done.
And it looks like he is closer to Prev.
Prev
is to smaller. Behind Deton, we've got 4 drivers very close. There goes Wiggles around the outside. Like a trailer park girl, and gets ahead. Up into 4th now, Mr. Wiggles.
Oh,
Deton goes off the track. And it's very congested here through turn 3. We may see another incident here, or a bit of wheel contact between Deton and we. Deton goes down the inside of that guy. Doesn't get the move done. Oh, Wee's round!
Oh!
Wee's round at the first Lesmo, turn 5, turn 6 even. I'm not too sure what happened there, whether he just dropped it.
I feel like it might have been a little bit of contact. It might have just touched Vivira's car in front, but I can't 100% be certain with that. Yeah, he does. It brakes too late and goes into the back of the Deton.
It's all very congested here. And who is that? That is Deton. He's had a bit of a mare at the final corner. And it is so close now. We've got Tamino overtaking his teammate, trying to get back into this race from 15th place. Ahead we've got a load of fighting. Colucci trying to brake as late as he can, trying to defend from Greg, who's getting overtaken from Fairley, who is now almost back into the points after what's been an unfortunate start for his race. TD's left, but I'm sure he can join back. Smaller Smiley still leads from Prev, Pete and Mr. Wiggles in 4th. Ross is just behind in 5th place. And for the championship, This is kind of perfect for Ross here. Tamino out of the points as Deaton has fallen, and I think he's spun at the second Lesmo where Joseph Hales had his crash in Q2 as Fairley gets past Mr. Colucci for 11th place here. DRS is now enabled, lap 3 after the safety car restart. We'll get TD back in. Smaller Smiley leads Prev by 1.1 seconds. Mr. Wiggles just out of range of DRS here as Ross gets past Pete into the first corner for 4th place. Oh, it looks like Pete has hit Ross. Oh, I think Pete has hit Ross there. He's just nudged him at turn 2 and he's sent him round into a spin. That is very unlucky for Ross, as he drops now down to 10th place. Pete has lost a couple of places to John and that guy. All of a sudden, John, who looked very quick in quali, only qualified P9, now finds himself in the net P2. Oh, a 10-10 spun now!
Pete.
Oh, it's Pete. Sorry. I got way too excited. 10-10 was spinning. Here comes Fairley, breaking late for a move on Ross. Oh, and he's hit Ross again. Oh, I think that was I'm not sure how realistic that move was from Fairley.
It's parabolic now.
I mean, the gap was there. Fairley lifts off the throttle to get the DRS on the next straight. Some call that smart racing. I'm not saying what I think of it.
I already know what you think of it.
I just think it's a bit cheeky, that's all.
Oh, smaller.
But
and Trev cuts the corner at turn 1.
It's a bit of a gap now between smaller Prev Wiggles and John. So I wonder if there's been a bit of an incident, a small incident, first corner. So it goes 10-10 now.
That guy.
Oh, 10-10's made a mistake at turn 5.
There's so much going on. Oh, Wiggles! John!
John making the move for what is net lead of the race. These guys have lost a load of time on Prev. But John won't care because, well, actually will care now because Mr. Wiggles getting back past with the DRS. It's a cracking race. I imagine I'll be very busy tonight. I'll tell you what, I'll focus on the leaders a bit more. You focus on the midfield.
Okay, I'll try to. There's quite a lot.
We'll stay with John and Mr. Wiggles because John is only a couple of tenths behind now in the final corner. Might get a chance to re-overtake for 3rd place. That guy's just waiting behind this pair, watching to see if there's going to be a mistake. One person who has really capitalised from all of this is AMS D-Bomb, who qualified in, I can't remember what it was, maybe 16th or 17th, but he's now up to P6, having a fantastic race. Ahead of Hungry Throne, but Hungry Throne does look a bit quicker in this stage of the race, has Fairley and Ross behind him without penalties. So Hungry Throne needs to get a bit of a wriggle on, perhaps.
That guy's also doing very good up at 8 places in his qualifying.
Smaller Smiley driving really strong as here comes Hungry Throne around the outside of D-Bomb. D-Bomb sticks in it, bit of contact. Oh, that was very hard racing. Here comes Fairley now. He's past Hungry Throne. He's got his good old buddy D-Bomb ahead, almost rear ends him, but gets away with it, and then the traction from the mediums.
Wiggles going for John as well.
As 10-10 comes into the pits where he retires from the session. Hungry Throne and D-Bomb side by side. Hungry Throne is either forced off wide or has made a mistake and gone off track, but he's lost a couple of places now. He's now behind Ross, who might fancy his chances at an overtake on D-Bomb. In terms of the championship, Ross getting 4 points right now. Tonino outside of the points, so Ross due to extend his championship lead as things stand. Just over halfway race distance.
Avoid that in the position that he probably wants to be in. He's still prevailing from Tonino making mistakes, so I don't think Ross will be too unhappy with his current situation.
I think Ross might be a little bit unhappy because I think Pete has hit Ross. Yeah. Otherwise Ross would be up there with Mr. Wiggles and John. Fairly sets a new fastest lap of the race. Here comes Ross now. Nice camera angle ahead. We've got Mr. Wiggles and John again fighting.
We've changed the last 3 laps.
But they are catching Prev now, who is starting to lose a bit more time on our race leader, Smaller Smiley. If a safety car doesn't come out very soon, this top 2 will have to pit and lose around 20 seconds.
I think they're both going for the soft tyres, so we'll have to keep an eye out on both of them towards the end of the race. How far they can get up in the field.
Those top 2 will come out of the pits behind Joseph Hales and ahead of Flew. So they'll be out of the points once they make their pit stops, but they will be on a much better set of tyres. So it's just about whether they can close that gap to the top 10 and get those overtakes done.
I think this is crucial for John now, where they can get in a DRS of Prev to stay in front of Wiggles.
Hungry Throne and D-Bomb going for round 2 in Ascari. D-Bomb loves that, defending that inside line. But on this occasion it hasn't quite worked, and Hungry Throne does get passed up into 8th place now. Both of them with time penalties. We'll check in with the time penalties in a few laps' time.
Ooh, Hungry Throne with a snap on the exit there. Could give D-Bomb a chance to get back past.
This time Hungry Throne defending the inside, but D-Bomb gets the move done before the corner, so...
Ooh, that guy in fairly collision, turn 1 and turn 2. Fairly trying to go down the inside into turn 1 and just gets the door completely shut out of turn 2 by that guy, and has lost a lot of time now to Mr. Wiggles.
Yeah, Mr. Wiggles and John now right on the back of Prev, who is losing a few tenths a lap now to Smaller Smiley, so it's not the fact that Prev is slow. I think Smaller Smiley's just really good on those medium tyres. We've seen him previously in this season take those mediums a long way in the Grand Prix, so I think that's where Smaller has good strength. Tonino up into 11th place past Deflated Wee, as D-Bomb and Hungry Throne once again fighting, but this time Hungry Throne gets the overtake done off track and spins, and that's part of his front wing gone. He'll need to pit and replace that, and drops out of the points as a result. That's, well, got the feeling from previous battles that was just bound to happen at some point. So no safety car for Smiley and Prev. They do both go on to a set of soft compound tyres though, which may help them out in the long term. Hungry Throne has also pitted, which means Smiley and Prev will come out in 11th and 12th place.
It'll be a harder task for Prev than what it was for Smiley. Prev was saving his 5-second penalty, so he's a lot further back now to Smiley.
Blue's coming out of the pits now and might fancy his chances on Prev with nice toasty tyres, but this battle for the leads now a bit more straightforward. John on Wiggles, and what a surprise, Fairley is back in 3rd place after being 18th earlier in the Grand Prix.
He's the 18th
now finds himself in the space of 13 laps. He's gone from 18th to 3rd. and only a couple of seconds away from this top two. Fairley, don't forget, is on the medium compound tyre, so we'll have more grip at this stage in the race, but towards the end of the Grand Prix may find himself struggling on traction. After those two pit stops for Smiley and Prev, and Colucci, who dives into the pits from 6th place, Tamino now up into 6th, Ross in 5th, has his teammate ahead with a time penalty, so Ross will be 4th as things stand, and extends his grip on the championship lead as Tamino has a big snap out of the first corner, and D-Bomb with deflated wheat. Smaller Smiley now back into the pits, but has a 9-second gap if he wants to gain any more places in the final 7 laps of this Grand Prix. John leads Mr. Wiggles by fractions. Fairley is trying to get that gap down to within a second so he can join the DRS train. But so far has not got within the second range.
It'll be interesting now to see whether Wiggles is going to just play it smart or whether he's going to play it aggressive with John.
Very true.
Here
he comes. It may not be aggressive, he may not be using overtake at all, but John may also understand that he doesn't need to use overtake here. We can just trade some positions and save some ERS together.
I think it'll be down to who has DRS on the last lap.
Potentially be. I mean, if any of these top 3 save some good amount of overtake, could potentially find himself overtaking down towards the final corner out of Ascari.
Yeah, true.
Hungry Throne, that's a really quick lap there, considering that Smaller Smiley set the previous fastest lap on soft tyres and Hungry Throne's just gone faster than that on the mediums.
That guy passed
on pits
by Ross as well.
Yeah, Ross with the DRS gets that move done up into 4th place, where he would finish anyway due to that guy's penalty. Tamino down in 6th place, under threat here from Deflated Wee, who is in penalty range. So Tamino may drop still to 7th place. As another change for the lead here, John just getting past with the DRS. These two doing
Tamino
a nice
in the
little job
pits.
here at... Oh, that's... Do you want to watch and see if he's got any damage?
Well, his 7 is 5-second time penalty.
Okay.
No damage.
Okay, so that's a strategic move. A bit of an odd move, I would say.
Yeah, I was going to say that it's a bit of an odd one.
I think maybe he's preparing in case there's a safety car. If there's a safety car, he doesn't have to serve that 5-second penalty. He doesn't lose it at the end of the race. He's already served it. But I don't know. I would still not have expected him to pit it there. Oh, Mr. Wiggles just losing a bit of traction out of Ascari and runs a bit wide. Last thing Mr. Wiggles wants to do now is get a time penalty.
I think Fairley might be struggling with his tyres a bit as well. He's lost 3 or 4 attempts in the last lap or 2. And he's in the pits.
So Fairley pits now for a set of soft tyres too.
This is brilliant for Ross's championship.
Brilliant for Ross. It's Fairley, you can see him dropping now. Maybe those mediums are just in a worse condition than we thought they would be. I mean, will Deflated Wee pit from 5th place on those mediums? Joseph Hales, nice recovery drive. He's back up into 7th place, has a time penalty. Smaller Smiley, though, on those soft tyres, is really making the most of this now.
Tell you what, these tyres don't look very nice at all. And that guy goes to spin out of a second chicane.
So we got the continuous battle for the lead, which could be changing hands between now and every lap in this race. So, battle for the lead still going on. Lap 24 of 27, 4 more laps to go.
Ooh,
there is a full
safety
course safety car, and what has happened?
It were Colucci, I think.
pitted. Sorry?
It were Colucci through the Escala chicane. He just went for a spin. I don't know whether he's lost his front wing or... Yeah, he's lost his front wing.
Okay, so this then has massively changed things.
Like, what do you do, Aiton? What do you do if your Wiggles or John Doe?
You got to pit for softs. Smaller can stay out here. There's a good chance, realistically here, that Smaller Smiley might be able... Let's have a look at his... He's 22 seconds off the lead.
It won't be obviously that much because of safety car pitting, but it could get
definitely
a good 4 positions
John
at least.
Definitely John and Wiggles need to pit here because they will get ahead pretty much of Smaller Smiley.
They've not pit. They've not pit.
They've not pit.
Ross is pitting.
I think Ross has made a right
that guy stays
choice
out.
Here.
Deflated pits. D-bomb stays
Ross
out.
is 20 seconds ahead of Fairley. It will be really close to see if Fairley will get out ahead of Ross here.
Oh, Smaller's pitting though.
I don't get that from Smaller. I would stay out.
Oh,
and where is Ross?
Fairley just in front.
Fairley is in front of Ross.
Right.
These top 5 have all stayed out. That is actually really, really good news for the top 2. Because it means they've got cars in between them and the soft runners. But surely I would have pitted there if I was John or Wiggles. You can have so much more traction to those hard tyre runners. With Smaller pitting, John and Wiggles would be ahead of Fairley. And all they'd need to do is stay within 3 seconds of the top 3. I'm completely confused as to why they haven't pitted there. And maybe that's why. Safety car's in this lap.
And Fairley's literally right on the back.
At the back of the pack, he had toasty tyres here.
Oh, this is going to be fun.
Are going to have not only tired hard compound tyres, but maybe cold hard compound tyres. Fairley could easily get 2 or 3 of these drivers here into turn 1.
This is going to be fun.
And they've gone for it. Have they gone for it? He has gone for it. Everyone's got full battery charge now, which means everyone's going to be having an identical set of overtake. Here comes D-Bomb, who's had a really strong race, considering he exited quali in Q1 and now up into 3rd place. Oh, what a spin! Oh, and I think he's tagged D-Bomb. Oh, and Fairley's it's carnage. It's absolute carnage at Monza. And that's the last thing we wanted to see. Fairley has had such a strong recovery drive after wheel issues and dropping to 18th on lap 6. But now may find himself with little or no points at all. Joseph Hales cutting across turn 4 and 5. gets a time penalty. These two leaders now lead by 4 seconds.
It's going to be, he's got the least amount of wings on the car between Wiggles and John. It's going to be a battle into the first chicane.
And this is mayhem. We've got 4 cars separated by half a tenth of a second. Side by side now. Round the outside. Oh, and Ross! No, deflated wheels got contact with Ross.
Oh, D-Bomb's out!
D-Bomb's out! D-Bomb, what a strong debut he had. Here comes Fairley now on smaller weed, trying to squeeze him. Oh my goodness, I'm going to get a load of clips tonight. Fairley now, thanks to that old kerfuffle in Ascari, is now back up into 6th place. Ross is still due to gain. Ross is still due to gain a load of places here on Tamino in the championship. A load of points, sorry. These two are still fighting. John and Mr. Wiggles. This is the fight of the season. They've been fighting every lap for the past 20.
Down to a Sally. Parabolica.
The one thing which might save John is there's no DRS.
Yeah.
No DRS. You can see the Mercedes rear wing is not open. Mr. Wiggles needs to hope now that John makes a mistake through Ascari. The last overtaking point is into the final corner, and it doesn't look like Mr. Wiggles is close enough. John, it's been a valiant drive. It was a disappointing Q3, but he's capitalised on mistakes from other drivers, and he exits the final corner, and he wins in Monza. It's a fabulous win for John, and well deserved. Mr. Wiggles could easily have won that, but just no DRS at the end after that safety car. Ross finishes on the podium
with fastest
and
lap.
extends his championship lead over Tamino, who I think has had a bit of a mistake on this last lap. He's dropped to 16th. Smaller Smiley, great result there up into 6th place.
Fairly went for a
we
spin.
Finishes.
It's still 4th.
Fairly in 4th. A great recovery drive. He could have been potentially higher tonight. Deflated Wheeze in 5th. Smaller Smiley, great result. Only 1/10 away from the top 5. Good shout for driver of the day tonight. Joseph Hales and that guy sticking it out on the hard tyres, finishing the points. Flew and Prev also in the points. As MBR Tamino, well, he was up there. He was odds-on favourite to take the win tonight. He took pole position by a country mile. But in the end, a couple of spins early on, a couple of mistakes, left him at the back of the field and with a mountain to climb. And now Ross has a commanding lead with just 6 races to go. So TD, who is your driver of the day tonight?
John. Without a doubt, John. 100%.
Any special mentions, Tom?
I think Fairley is definitely a special mention because they were down in 18th.
I think Mr. Wiggles for...
Yeah, Mr. Wiggles
pushing.
obviously for giving it back with John. And I think Smaller again. Another brilliant drive 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Well, catch your breath, guys, because even if you were spectating that took your breath away. What a fabulous race. And if you like more of that, well, we've got 2 more races coming up for you this week. Join us on Thursday for Assist Tier 1. And Sunday, it looks like the race will be going ahead, but it will be at 8 o'clock GMT instead of 7:30. We're just making sure that we don't clash with the real life race in Brazil. So join us on Sunday night at 8 PM instead of 7:30. We'll have short quali instead of full quali. and still a 50% race. Wow, I mean, I'm genuinely struggling to take in what we've just seen tonight. It was fast, it was frantic, it was crazy. I'm sure my job as the steward is going to be very, very busy tonight.
You're going to be watching clips until next week.
I hope not. But yeah, hopefully you guys have really enjoyed that. We are going to raid someone new. He's at Monaco. I think he's doing some 5-lappers, so maybe see if you can get involved if you want. But we will raid.
Monaco, Jesus.
We're going to raid this guy. Should be P5 after penalty removal. Okay, well, best of luck with that. I'm the steward.
Who's that?
Joseph Hales. So yeah, we'll sort that out and we'll get the results out to you as soon as we can. But for now, enjoy your week, guys. I hope you really enjoyed this this streamer. Go and say hi, drop a follow, whatever you want to do. But we'll see you on Thursday for Assist Tier 1, and peace.